Beyond the Podium, sponsored by Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Innovative cancer treatment close to home. Together, we're making cancer history.
The Olympic spirit is strong as athletes from all over the world gathered in northern Italy to compete for gold. I'm Anne-Marie Tiernan, and you're watching Beyond the Podium. And we start with figure skating. On the men's side, American Maxim Novov finished 20th overall. But where he finished isn't what's important. This 24-year-old lost his parents in a horrific plane crash just a year ago. And Max did what figure skaters do. He picked himself back up. He kept going, and he did so all the way to making the Olympic team. And he did so in front of the world. Max honoring his late parents in an emotional free skate program. So much for you to get to this point. What a journey it's been.
It has. It's been just a wild year. A lot of things have happened, and I am so happy and proud that I can stand here with you and call myself a proud Olympian.
You're resilient. You're a survivor. You really are. Did you know you had that in you?
Yeah, absolutely. There was moments of doubt. I mean, we all have those moments, but it's what my parents taught me ever since I was a kid. There's nothing that we can't overcome if we stick together as a unit, as a family, and just be resilient. That is, the mantra of our family, and whatever life throws at you will remain standing and pushing onwards and upwards. So it's something that has always driven all my actions and my motivation. So when it really comes down to it, there's no other option.
This was your family's dream. Do you feel your family's presence? How do you think they would feel seeing you here? You think they'd be so proud of you?
I hope and I pray that they are proud. I think back to just all those difficult days, all of the things that we went through when I was younger, as I got older, and up until, the very last moments that we had, we fought together, and all with the same goal in mind, and finally bringing that full circle and making it a reality just means everything to me, because again, we did it as a family, and I felt their presence through both of my performances. Truly, they continue to guide me on the ice, and I felt that through and through.
And finally, what's next for you now?
For me, what's next is a little bit of a break. I need a rest. I need to go home and just reevaluate, get some things in order. I have some family business to take care of, and I want to take a break, give my brain a chance to not be on go 100% of the day. Just relax and get a chance to get my bearings and decide what to do next. I want to get involved more in coaching. All of my students this year, I haven't had a chance to work as much as I wanted to. So coming back to the Skating Club of Boston and picking up where I was left off for coaching, I can't wait. Being involved more with Tomorrow's Champions, also the program that my parents created, it's something I'm also very passionate about. So mentoring the youth and continuing to develop coaching, and perhaps maybe some more stuff.
In speed skating, it's so close at the end. 1,000th of a second can make the difference between a medal, a place on the podium, or going home with nothing. It's incredible. So you can imagine the Team USA athletes need the very best in everything to get a place on that podium. Our Chris Egan from Seattle is talking tech with speed skaters.
It's a very fast-paced sport.
They skate at over 30 miles per hour. Strength and endurance are key. But the athletes also need cutting-edge technology.
The blades are really important. The rock, which is how round the blade is. We're always making sure our blades are sharp.
Everyone has their own preferences about the type of blades and the length and how they want them sharpened or not sharpened. And Yeah, it's all just personal preference, but the blades are really important.
Our blades on long track are a little bit flatter because we're on a bigger radius. People generally are on the same setup, but still, if that setup gets messed up at all, you definitely tell immediately. You're like, what's going on?
The athletes use these edges to control how they're pushing and actually to put the force into the ice.
Shane Dahmer is Chief of Sports Performance for Team USA. It's his job to make sure each athlete has the perfect skate.
See a speed skater, they're always going to the left. So these blades are curved to help them dig in and control as they go around that left-hand turn.
In Shane's workshop, there are two types of skates, long and short track. Short track skates are fixed to the boot. Long track skates attach firmly to the boot only at the front.
They have a hinging mechanism on. And the hinging mechanism allows them to push a little bit more and get a little bit more push into the ice per stroke.
The blades are thin, just 1.1 millimeters. Making sure it's perfect on race day is critical.
On these blades, they have such a feel. So if this thing's off by 1/1000th of an inch, they'll feel it.
From blades to body skin suits, Team USA's cutting-edge speed skating uniforms reduce air friction with unique textures, panels, and aerodynamic features.
But there's hours and hours in the wind tunnel. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars that go into the production of something like this.
In the 50s, skaters wore sweaters and wool pants. In 2026, it's a different story.
You'll see that we have different materials around cylinders, like your arms and legs, which are actually the slowest part of your bodies as far as aerodynamics go. And we have different materials to actually kind of break up the air, cause some turbulence, so they'll wrap around those cylinders and create a more aerodynamic, function for the material.
Having like pristine equipment is really important for the sport.
"70 years ago, Cortina hosted the Winter Olympics. That was 1956, and Hollywood took notice. Matt Renew from Denver has the majestic views and landscape that the world is now seeing on the big screen.
The ice skating venue is still around and being used in these 2026 Olympics. The old bobsled track and Miramonte Hotel that were used in that Bond film have been closed, but it's still standing, and we found it.
Cortina, Italy might be the center of attention during the 2026 Winter Olympics.
We'll make it as beautiful as possible for the 2026 Olympics.
But Cortina-born Giacomo Colli says,
I'm Giacomo Colli, 23 years old from Cortina.
This town's been in the spotlight before.
Cortina for a couple of days became the center of the world.
Cortina hosted the 1956 Winter Olympics, but more important to James Bond fans, it played a big role in the 1980s Bond film For Your Eyes Only.
Exactly, in 1983, I believe, For Your Eyes Only, James Bond.
The 2026 Winter Olympic curling venue in Cortina was also the opening ceremony stadium and hockey venue for the 1956 Olympics, and in 1980, it was the location for several scenes with James Bond, including one where he fights evil hockey players.
There was a hockey scene played here where the two bad guys try to punch and fight with Mr. Bond.
Today, there's a Hall of Fame wall here with skaters, athletes, and Roger Moore on the wall. While other places around Cortina,
James Bond was shot all over Cortina,
were also featured, from the Olympic ski jump to the ski slopes of Cortina and the 1956 Olympic bobsled track. The once lavish Miramonte Hotel,
it's one of the first hotels to ever be built here in Cortina,
is closed today, but in the 1980s, it was featured in the film.
We are currently at Hotel Miramonte, where James Bond was staying in the movie.
The location where Bond rolls up in his Lotus with skis on the back.
Out here with the skis on the back and all the scenes inside the rooms with the Bond girl. Let's say it's great. It's a great movie.
Now with another Winter Olympics in Cortina,
where the alpine skiing will be.
Giacomo says maybe Cortina can play a part in the next Bond film, because even if he doesn't have a Lotus, he says he's got a great idea who could play the next Bond.
Lotus skis on the back, and then I'm the next James Bond.
That same hotel's got a little bit of Hollywood magic, as it turns out, that goes beyond James Bond and For Your Eyes Only, because it was also used in the movie The Pink Panther. So Anne-Marie, who knew that all that Hollywood history was right here up in Cortina?
Back here in Milan, there is a lot of energy around the Olympic cauldron. It's in the Peace Plaza, and there are thousands of people that gather every night to see quite a show. Cheryl Preheim from Atlanta takes us there.
In the resort town of Cortina, there's one place everybody wants to get their picture.
Wow, it's really beautiful.
The 2026 Olympic cauldron is surrounded by the beautiful Dolomite Mountains.
Top of the downhill course, if you stay in the right spot, you can see it right through the cauldron.
200 miles away in Milan, a second Olympic cauldron surrounded by a lot of people, like Kelly Whittier.
It must be thousands, I imagine.
Every night, people line up to see the Olympic flame.
Everybody wants to see the flame, I imagine.
At the center of the cauldron. There's an Olympic light and sound show.
With the lights and everything and the music combination, it was really a nice show to watch.
It's keeping these winter games burning bright in the city of Milan or in the mountains of Cortina.
They've been a much bigger hit than I expected.
Incredible, I love it here.
Absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of art.
It's a popular photo that everyone wants when they visit. See the links that people will go to for the perfect shot. A pilgrimage to Pisa when Beyond the Podium continues. Time now for a pilgrimage to Pisa. You know, if you think about Pisa in northern Italy, they've got a cathedral, they've got a baptistry, but it is that leaning tower that is the main draw. Scott Swan and Steve Rhodes from Indianapolis went there, and they have this story of everyone trying to get just that perfect shot.
In this corner of Italy, the plan was simple: make it perfect.
This building is the tallest, largest baptistry in the world.
From the outside,
material is marble.
This looks like a crown.
The shape is a circle.
Inside,
everybody has to be silent.
It sounds like a miracle.
The acoustic of this place is like, a choir of angels, as they call it.
Only steps away, more perfection. The city's cathedral.
A ceiling made of gold. Mosaics. Art paintings. It's stunning inside. This building is actually the church of the cemetery.
Sacred spaces. Every one of them built to be, yes, perfect. Perfect acoustics, perfect architecture, even a perfectly planned cemetery. Then they built a bell tower, and that's when perfection took a turn.
Ciao. Io sono Alessandro Bargagna. My name is Alessandro Bargagna. I'm a tour guide, and benvenuti a Pisa. Welcome to Pisa.
Construction of the 186-foot tall Tower of Pisa began in 1174. Almost immediately, it started to sink in the soft soil. That gave the tower a tilt that couldn't be fixed.
We don't know who made it. The architect disappeared. He made a mistake, the best mistake ever made in the history.
What began as a miscalculation, an architectural embarrassment, has become one of the world's most beloved icons.
That's true.
millions visit every year, all of them seeking the same souvenir.
A lot of people taking lots of pictures.
Not one picture, but the picture.
Everywhere you look, everyone is getting the shot.
Yes, we got it!
The one pretending to hold the tower up.
This couple even did research.
We've been going through internet and we got some inspiration, obviously.
Picking a pose is just what you do here.
Maybe with one hand, maybe with two hands, maybe with the arm, or maybe with a gelato, or maybe kicking it somehow, using every part of their bodies. It's so funny.
So if you come to Pisa, make sure and explore everything in the Square of Miracles.
This is a perfect building.
A space built to be perfect, but famous for its flaw.
It's not straight. I think it's a mistake. I don't know.
A mistake that became a masterpiece.
Okay, just your hand a little straighter. Bravo. That's perfect.
See, now I've been to Pisa.
And thank you for holding it up, because otherwise, yeah, it would be a mess. Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
The NCAA is at the Games, highlighting the connection between collegiate and Olympic sports. Next. Of the more than 230 athletes that make up Team USA, 84 of them came through the college system, NCAA varsity athletes. And there's no one more aware of that connection and invested in telling their stories than this lady here. This is Jalen Art, who's from the NCAA. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having us and telling our story. We're so pumped to be here.
Yeah, when I think of collegiate sports and I think of Olympic sports, in the summer sports, it makes sense to me. It's like, okay, there's basketball, there's track and field, you know, but then when we're talking about winter sports, outside of hockey, it doesn't seem to be as much of a translation. So fill in the blanks for me on that.
It makes for great storylines. Like, for example, bobsled. There are a lot of former track and field athletes that turn into bobsled and become Olympians on the world's biggest stage. You have former swimmers who are on the bobsled team, our speed skating, you have a former Division I basketball player, Division I women's soccer. It just shows that the Olympic pipeline can go far beyond just the NCAA varsity sport.
Yeah, what's your favorite story that you're telling so far?
Oh, right now it's definitely Keisha and Hunter's love story. They are engaged and they're on Team USA's bobsled team here. And we were able to unravel that they met on campus. She was at UNLV, he was at Colorado State, and they met at a track meet. And that story, you'll have to stay tuned. We're gonna release it here soon, but it is an amazing story, and it's just so cute that they fell in love in college, and now they're on like literally the world's largest stage.
Why is it important for the NCAA to partner and align with Team USA?
You know, it's just like promoting the Olympic sports on campus and just showing that we offer something that no other country does. It's a world-class academic and athletic opportunity, and the pipeline is extremely strong, and obviously they're very, very decorated athletes here, so we're excited to see them.
And this includes the Paralympics too?
Correct, yeah. We have 5 total Paralympians so far who've qualified for the Winter Games, but they have amazing stories. We had Steve Empt, and he's just a gem, and he took over our broadcast channel, and we can't wait to continue the stories past the Olympic Games.
I know you're just telling so many stories. You're always on deadline here. It's 24/7 because you're trying to handle all the deadlines from coast to coast across the country. So before we go, where can people find the stories that you're putting together?
Yes, you can follow us along at NCA on all of the major social channels, and we'll be posting all throughout the games.
All right, look forward to it. Jalen, thanks so much.
Of course.
He's an Olympic hero and a World War II hero too. It's a story you don't want to miss, and it's next on Beyond the Podium. And now a history lesson to share with you. The 10th Mountain Division and the soldiers who served in that unit played a key role in World War II. Matt Renew has the story of a Colorado soldier who served in that unit, whose life also intersected with the Olympics.
At home in Grand Junction.
Hi, I'm David Wren. Welcome to my house.
David Wren is pretty far from the heart of Colorado ski country, but through his dad, David's forever connected to Colorado ski history.
One thing I want to tell you about Gordon Wren is that his personality was very gregarious.
His father, Gordon Wren, grew up in Steamboat Springs and, like a lot of kids, spent a lot of time on skis.
Skiing at that time consisted of jumping.
Eventually, he would compete in ski jumping and alpine ski racing, making headlines and papers all over the country.
He jumped 300 feet.
While also teaching U.S. soldiers how to ski.
Got a huge commission to start teaching Army troops, paratroopers.
A job that during World War II had Gordon stationed at Camp Hale near Vail,
where he was an instructor right away.
Instructing men from all over the country.
He was training guys from Mississippi who had never been on a hillside before, let alone a mountain, and 50 degrees was freezing to them.
How to ski and how to fight in the snow.
Skiing, rock climbing, and mule skinning, they called it, which was the essence of mountain warfare.
Gordon would spend time in Europe as an instructor. After the war, he went back to ski competitions as an athlete, where the 10th Mountain veteran followed his dream to compete in the Winter Olympics.
Chasing his dream, which had always been to ski jump in the Olympics.
And was good enough to compete in ski jumping and alpine racing.
Won the slalom tryouts and placed well enough in the downhill that he was the top guy on the team. But he also wanted to ski jump.
Gordon wanted to fly.
There's a lot of stuff in here that relates to my dad.
And did just that at the 1948 Olympics, where he placed 5th. To this day,
these are some awards.
It's one of the highest placings for an American ski jumper at the Olympics.
But at the time, that was the highest placing for an American ski jumper that had ever happened.
Which alone would be an honor for Team USA. But Wren was also representing the men who died in Italy during World War II. Those who didn't get the chance to compete at an Olympics.
Definitely was on his mind and in his heart, when he was doing that.
And why during the 2026 Olympics in Italy, David's sure to be watching from Grand Junction, and no doubt thinking of his dad.
Undoubtedly, I think of my dad every time I see the Olympic rings.
Thank you for spending time with us at the 2026 Winter Olympics. You've been watching Beyond the Podium. We hope you enjoyed these stories. We have more for you in the days to come. I'm Anne-Marie Tierney.
Beyond the Podium, sponsored by Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center.